watching Crossing Time Zones, the podcast that highlights the inspiring journeys of international students at University of Maryland College Park. The International Student Advisory Board of the Office of International Students and Scholar Services brings you this podcast. Here we celebrate resilience, adaptation, and the incredible stories that connect us all. I am Shashank Pratap Singh, co-president of ISAB, and I'm excited to have Varaa with us today. Varaa is a Master of Engineering student in cybersecurity, originally from India. And she has a fascinating story to share about her experiences navigating life as an international student. Varaa, thank you so much for being here today.
It's my pleasure.
So let's get started, Varaa. First of all, so I have like different sections which focusing on like different aspects of your life. So the first one is about your native culture. So can you describe a cultural tradition or a custom from India that holds significant meaning to you, and how have you found ways to carry it with you to US?
So one thing that I usually try to bring from my culture is mostly hospitality, which India is very famous for.
Yeah.
And I try to incorporate in the daily things that I do. So if, for example, my friends bring me food, I never give them an empty tiffin bag. Like, I make sure that I make something nice for them and give it back to them. Or if I see that someone's really struggling with something, I try to offer my help, or in any way just try to make them as comfortable as possible. And it doesn't just stop at my house.
I see.
It goes beyond to whichever place I'm at. And I think that's really important because kindness goes around.
Yeah, that's so true. Like even for my mom, like so basically, I have few cousins who like also study at UMD. So like my friends don't go to our home that often, but like whenever like my cousin's friend out there, like she always like packages, like she'll pack like food for them, and like even though like they'll always say no, but she'll always have something to give to them just as like a courtesy and all. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. Then moving on to the next question, so it's kind of like a little bit about your family, right? So like you informed me that you are like from like an armed forces household, right? So that experience would have been like really unique to you, and like if you like, I would say your friends would also have been from the same background, but like talking about people you met at UMD, I don't think so anyone shares that background or no.
I haven't met someone.
Yeah, so so you have that unique experience, right? So how did that experience like influence your cultural perspective and like adaptability in general, like coming from India to US?
I feel like, to be honest, they say that we get this cultural shock when we land in the US. Initially, it's like the honeymoon phase where everything's nice.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never really faced that shock. I'm still waiting for it in a way. Because I spent the first 12 years of my life in army campuses and Air Force campuses, and there were so many people from different cultures, and everyone, it was a tight-knit family basically, everyone knew everyone. So it wasn't really different for me over here, except for like a few things here and there. But I feel like those would be applicable even if I went in some other place in India. Like you find some new places here and there, new kind of people too. So I feel like it wasn't anything major, and it was really easy for me to adapt to things, or people in general be more respectful and more, I don't know, open to new experiences with people over here, just because I had that bit of advantage.
I had a friend who also had like a similar like his father was also in the army, so like he used to like travel. Like he was in our school for like 2 years, and then he went to Dehradun, and then from there he went to Bangalore. So he was moving all over the India. Like I'm still in touch with him, and one thing he just shares like, or like he talks about is that just when he starts like bonding with the people, like something happens and the transfer is there. So like he has to go to a different city. So. But yeah, I'm glad that experience has like helped you a lot in like adapting, because for me personally, when I came to the US or like to UMD, like my first month was kind of like a roller coaster for me, like adapting to like this new culture, because in my background I always had like the same set of people for like 18 years, right? So I was kind of used to see similar faces, and then I come to UMD and it's like everyone is new, and like you see people from so many backgrounds and stuff. So that was kind of new to me. So yeah, I had some like adventures in like the first month. So yeah, that was about the native culture. Anything else you want to share about your culture, anything in general before we move on to the next topic?
Nothing really. I really like my culture.
Mm-hmm.
I think it mostly gives me the flexibility to practice it the way that I wish to. It's
Mm-hmm.
more of a way of life for me, and that's how it's described to me by my parents.
Nice.
So it hasn't really been, hard and fast rule about, hey, you need to do this, this, this.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of about what feels right from within, and I think that really helps the adaptability.
Okay, and so this is kind of like we are transitioning into like the American culture because like, and also is this your first time in the US?
This is my first time out of India in
Oh, okay.
general.
So then I feel like you'll have some great answers for these questions. So like moving into the US, it's kind of like a big transition. You talked about how you didn't face any like kind of like adaptability issues because of your background, but still like it's your first time moving out of India and you were alone, right? Like,
Yeah.
and do you have any family or somewhere?
In the US?
Yeah.
My uncle and aunt, they
Mhm.
do stay very close to Philly.
I see, but still, it's like Philly is like I guess 2 or 3 hours of journey from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like in UMD, you didn't have anyone like when you came. So
Not really.
so what were some of like the most significant like cultural differences you noticed when arriving here, and like how did you adapt to them? So this is my very like common example which I share with people just to get them started. So like when I came. My dad was like, you have to wear like jeans and all and be like in the formals to like your classes and all, right? And when I went to my first class, I remember like fall 22, I saw people walking in pajamas. And like I was wearing shoes and everything, and it's like 8 in the morning, and I saw some people in like these sleepers and all that thing, right? And I was like, I didn't take a picture, but then I called my dad and I was like, you see, there's something different here. Probably I'm missing something. So that's how it was. Like my first month, I used to be like, okay, because it's sunny today, let me wear this. And then I go out and I see people wearing different sets of clothes and all that happening. So I was kind of struggling with like the clothing and all for my first, like the dressing style for the first few months, I would say. So what was some like your like some differences you found in like the between your culture and like the culture in the US?
I think the biggest difference that I found was, and this was actually a shock for me, was that I lived for like a decade before I came here in Pune, which is like a cosmo metropolitan city. And so things are open to like 4 a.m., 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Like everything's open all the time. And because of mainstream media, we sort of have this perception that US is supposed to be really a place where nightlife is.
Oh, okay, I see.
I'm not saying like clubbing. I'm not saying that.
Like the
but
shops
like,
in general.
Yeah. Like if I want to get ice cream, I have to just depend on CVS. So that was a big shock for me.
Yeah.
And that's something which probably it's because College Park is like a small town.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure New York is not like that. But from my experience, because I've only been in College Park, that's one of the biggest things that I was really shocked to see.
Yeah, that's true. Like, and honestly, College Park is still better. Like my dad, like my family lives in Rockville. King Farm is like a semi-urban area, so like shops there close at like sharp 10 o'clock. So it's even worse there. Like first week when my dad came, like he used to be like, oh, I got late from office, and then I was like going back. I thought on my way back I'll just get something from the shop, and I go there and I see it's 10:05 and they are already closed. So yeah, definitely that's one thing which I feel like it's kind of like a big difference. Another one which I can also talk about is probably like how like people like call like others by their like first names, irrespective of whether like they are elder or like younger, right? Because in India, I feel like it's always like you have like, or if it's like a faculty, so you say like professor, doctor, or something, right? But like in the US, I've seen like people always just call by first name, which is kind of like a bit awkward for me. So what do you feel about it?
To be honest, after my bachelor's, I worked for a year in the industry. And I also interned during my bachelor's. So I sort of was used to that.
Okay.
Because the first week that you join, they're like, don't call me sir, don't call me ma'am, just call me so and so. So I sort of had that, and it was both of them were American companies. So I sort of had that way back when I was in India.
I see. So you already experienced it.
Yeah, already done. But I really like it that there are ways to be formal with people, and different people prefer different things over here. So like if you say sir and ma'am to certain kind of people, they would sort of like it. Is what I have noticed. Some people just like being called Mr. or Miss or something of that sort, probably. And I still call my professors because that's just, I think, an Indian thing that we are taught to, respect. So, yeah, that's something to.
Okay, now it makes sense because I was kind of wondering why like you didn't bring up the topic of this, like the name thing, because I feel like the past 3 or 4 people I have interviewed, all of them have said this thing. Like this was in common with them, but it kind of makes sense. Yeah, you already experienced that like before coming, so.
Yeah, it was super awkward when it did happen, but yeah, I'm.
You're done with the phase.
I'm done with the phase.
Okay. So I feel like this is kind of like similar, but like, were there any memorable experiences or surprises which you come across in like the American culture, like something you like about this culture?
Something I like. There was one really memorable experience that I had while my first week in the US, actually. The first week I was here, I went kayaking to Georgetown.
Okay.
And this is something I always wanted to experience, but I thought that I would probably experience it when I would be traveling to some place in Europe. But it was basically open salsa and bachata that was going on at the waterfront. So it was just music and people were just randomly dancing with strangers, and I personally love dancing. I love that culture of people just getting together and dancing in the streets, and just that bonding with unknown people. That's really sweet to see. It's very similar to like how we have festivals in India, and people sort of get together for that, even though they don't know each other. But I really like that, and I think that's one of the best experiences of my life because it made me feel very liberated, because it was really unexpected as well. I didn't think I would experience that in the US. So yeah.
Now for sure, I feel like it was one of the best ways to like start your thing out like in the US, because I feel like the first month for any international student in general, it's like very like kind of like how to say, like they're really shy to interact because of like, first of all, I would say if English was not their first language, there's always this communication thing, or like even though there's no barrier, sometimes people just like create it thinking that, oh, because English is not my first language, people will judge me on my accent and stuff. So it's good that you were like kind of like you got into that, and like I'm pretty sure that would have boosted your like morale and like confidence, and like after that, right? Like, or did it not? Like, what do you think about it? Like,
I mean, I did not really. If I had some issues with confidence, it would probably have helped a lot. I just never had that much of a distance to cover confidence-wise. Like, I was always pretty self-assured.
Okay.
So I did not. It was just a good experience that I think about, because that's probably the only time I went out and like explored the US in a way. Apart from that, I've just locked myself in College Park, working and stuff, so I've not really had a lot of those. That's why that one stands out to me personally. But yeah.
Yes. Okay. Anyways, it's fine. Yeah. And so let's talk about this. This is kind of like, I would say, building upon the previous one. So like you have your own cultural identity, and then you come to US, you also can kind of start learning about like how the culture in the US is, right? And some things are like kind of like contradicting, some things are like they are common in both the cultures. So like how do you manage that balancing? Like balancing that thing of like, oh, I want to also keep my cultural identity, but I also want to learn like the American culture, right? So how do you do that? Like I'm I'm trying to think of like something which might help you as an example, but like you get the question, right? Yeah. So
what I try to do is sort of adapt in general to what the best thing is for me
in that situation.
Yeah. For example, if I like something about my culture, I already do it. If there's something new that I learn and it's always a learning curve for me. I like to adapt. I like to see if there's something that can be done in a different way over here, something which was not done in India, and I like to adapt myself according to that. And I think it's really important to understand the differences and still be respectful, even if I don't agree with certain things. Because there's no intersection between me following what I believe in and disrespecting something else that I don't believe in.
Yeah,
right?
that's so true.
Because it's like, this is my way of life, and I'm going to live it my way, and that's your way of life, and you decide to live it your way.
Your way.
So I think that's something that needs to be inculcated more in people in general.
No, definitely, like the point she brought up, I feel like the people I know who are from like the international community and who have made a name, I would say in UMD or like just in general, this is one thing which I feel like is common between all of them, that they kind of like carry their own cultural identity, but at the same time they don't try to like disrespect the other cultures. They try to like learn from it, and like if it works out for them, they try to like manage that balance. Otherwise, they just move on with their own cultural identity, trying to like promote it, trying to like still have it in their like day-to-day activities, and learning at the same time. So that's definitely that's a really good like insight. So now we are moving on to like your social life, right? Like I know like you talked about like that you have been in College Park for like most of your time during your program, but like still like I'm pretty sure like some of the questions will like help us get like more into like how is it to be like a master's in like engineering student and like at UMD and like as an international student. So yeah, the first question is kind of like relatively similar. So like like you are like a international student like in the US, and it's like your first month, and so socializing or like interacting with like people might be like your biggest struggle, right? Because in your case, like what I feel like from like the answers you have given me, it's like you were like kind of like already very confident in talking to people, but still like socializing, I feel like would have been a little bit struggle for you and all.
I think socializing has always been a struggle for me,
Okay.
just like irrespective of if I'm in the US or India. I'm good at it. I just don't like doing it. Because I have been, so we have these official parties in the Air Force.
Yeah.
And since I was a kid, I have been interacting with these high-ranking officers and their wives, and talking to them in a certain way, because etiquette is something that they teach you. So I have been pretty good and confident in interacting with people, especially people from different cultures. I just don't like doing it, not about cultures, but just interacting in general. It takes a lot of my energy. It's not that I hate people. That's not the case. It just takes a lot out of me. It drains me. I'm an introvert, so I do it if I have to. I prefer not to.
I see.
Yeah. So.
And I would say, okay, let's say, like specifically in the US, right? Did you have any challenges in like socializing? Let's say if you had to socialize, right? Like if you had to go out and like you knew that, oh, I have to like talk to people and all. Did you feel like you had any challenges or something? Like, for example, I would not say accent would be a problem in your case, because I feel like because I interviewed another candidate and he had a strong accent. So that was one thing which he pointed out, that like when I went to this one party for the first time, I was talking to people normally, but because I feel like his accent was pretty strong, so they were like kind of having some struggles to understand, and like he then felt like, oh, he has to be a little slow while speaking. So did you had anything like that, or like?
I think one thing that I faced, or still do face an issue with a little bit, is the fact that my frequency doesn't match as much in terms of, so I don't like making small talk a lot. It feels a little off to me. And I never used to make small talk with my with the people I used to interact with my peers in undergrad in India. And they used to point it out sometimes. Because I used to just get to the point. when my diplomatic social persona was switched off.
Mm-hmm.
So I used to get to the point and they used to point it out. But they did not make a huge fuss about it. Over here, I feel like if I don't do that, it might offend people. Nobody has ever made a fuss about it, but I feel like it's like walking on eggshells to not offend people, because you don't know if that's considered rude. With your people, they sort of understand that.
Because they have been experiencing.
Yeah, and in a way, you're also sort of representing your country. So if a person has had a bad experience with you, it reflects badly on where you come from. And I'm way too patriotic to do that. So
honestly, I feel like sometimes it's kind of like good to just stick to the point instead of kind of doing that thing.
Beating around the bush.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of also feel like it mostly when it's like a serious meeting and something, and already you have 30 minutes, and then the first 10 minutes people are just talking about how's your life, and that kind of makes sense. So but at the same time, I feel like probably some places you may want to switch to the other thing, because some people also do care, but again it's your way of doing it, so as long as you are comfortable with it should be fine.
I am just scared that everyone will see this and think I'm phasing out all the time, which is not the case.
So this next question is about your friend circle. So how have you formed friendships with your current friend circle? So it could be domestic students or international students from India or from other countries, or even from the GSG, if you know anyone from if you have developed a personal bonding, how did that occur? What were some, I would say was it through some events that you guys met together, or it could be was it because of you guys were together in GSG and that's how you met? So how was that?
I use the word friends very carefully.
Okay.
Because it's binary in my head. I'm an engineer at the end of the day, and I've made one friend in the US, so it's more of just a point rather than a circle. But in India also, I think I just made one friend throughout my entire schooling and 2 friends in my college.
And you still are in touch with them?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all it matters.
Yeah, I talk to them multiple times a week, despite the time zone difference.
Okay.
So that's great.
Yeah.
And I'm dying to meet them. But the thing is, over here, so my best friend right now, over here, I met him through one of the events that happened. I think it was in ESJ. I'm not sure. It was a coffee hour that they do for all the new students. So basically for grad students, the departments hold this coffee hour for the incoming students, so that they can socialize with their cohort in a way. And I met him there. So, and my friend Bharat is basically from the same program as me. Apart from that, I think I have created good bonds with certain people as well.
So what do you how would you say what is the tag for them, if not friends, what's
I think they're really good acquaintances.
Okay.
I do care for them. I hope them well in life, and they're really special to me. They've taught me really great things. So one of them is the ex-president of GSG, Autumn Perky, who just served before me.
I see.
And I met her before I was a part of GSG. I met her in the GSL lounge, which is in Stamp, through the director of Op. So she just came in and she was sort of running, and I just offered her water because the first point that I made about hospitality.
Yeah.
So I was just like, are you okay? Do you need some water? And then she's like, you're so nice. So she actually got married a few, I think last month or last month. And I actually went to her wedding.
That's nice.
So I think she has a very special place in my life. She's really great. She's really warm. And another person that I'm sort of close with is my VP of Finance, Michael. So they are really nice. And I sort of have this bond with them. And we usually talk just for work. But super sweet. Super sweet person.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so shout out to Autumn and Michael, right?
Yeah, Autumn, Michael, and Bharat.
And Bharat as well. Yeah, shout out to these amazing people. And also, she mentioned about the coffee hours. So I just wanted to talk about like the international coffee hours, which ISSS also does. It's every Thursday, 2:30 to 3:30. The location keeps on changing, but you can check it out on the website. But it's a great way to like connect with new people. If you're like an international student or a domestic student, you can just go there, have free coffee and snacks, and you have the opportunity to like talk to people. I feel like people are very open to talking, and like it's a great way to like mingle with like the local and like I would say international community in general. So yeah, big shout out to Michael, Emma, and Jui for like conducting this. So yeah, let's move on to the next one. Yeah, probably this might be something you may be able to answer. It's not about like moving out of College Park, but it's focused in College Park. So yeah, what are some unique social activities or events at UMD that you have found yourself participating in that you would not have encountered back home?
Oh, rock climbing.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I have started going for rock climbing. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so great at UMD. At Recpel Center, we have this bouldering zone inside.
Yeah.
I went to it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually made like a few new connections or people who could sort of teach me, and it was great. I don't have the guts to go to the outdoor one because it's super tall.
Yeah.
But I think that's great, and even though the place that I lived in back home in India, we had a gym and stuff, but I would never have gone because I just don't like getting out of my house. And but once I'm out, I'm out. So going to the gym alone is something I did not think I would do, but the facilities are just so good. And I just think that there are so many activities that I personally don't do, but like other people might be interested in that I did not even know existed. But once I became part of GSG, I got to know that hey, there are these plethora of activities that you could partake in, and it sort of helps you meet new people. Even if you don't like end up being friends, you could just partner with them to go to that activity and sort of learn something new.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like I feel like one or two. Yeah, probably like two of the people in my inner friend circle, I met them through badminton. So yeah, so I used to play badminton in high school, and then like I came to UMD, so I was like, what should I do? Badminton was the only thing which I used to do at that time, so I used to go for like these badminton like sessions, and like they have the courts, right? So the club used to have some of their sessions in Epley, and then some of the other sessions in SPH. So I used to go there just for fun, and that's how I met these people, and now they're part of my inner circle. So definitely, I feel like as an international student, if you're not sure what you want to do or like how to connect with people, I would say try to just stick with one activity. I would say just like try to find something new or some activity which you're interested in and try to like pursue that. And I'm pretty sure you'll find someone like who like has a similar like passion or like interest, and definitely you guys will bond well. So that's a very good way of like connecting with new people. So.
I think STEM activities are also really great for like meeting new folks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's another thing. I personally was like because most of the time like I used to miss them because I never used to check the newsletters and stuff. So my the first year when I wanted like those activities to help me out, I couldn't like use them unfortunately. But yeah, that's true. Those are even Res Life has its own like find your score and all that activity is happening all year round. So yeah, those are another things which people can make use of. So yeah.
Just for undergrads though. Resident life is just fun.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, so for undergrads, but I'm pretty sure even grad students will find something.
Yeah,
Terplink has like 840 clubs. So
we have a lot of graduate student life activities. GSL is where our GSU office is as well. So TJ is right now managing all of that. He's also one of our faculty advisors.
Okay.
really great activities, and TJ is also really great. TJ and
So,
Blessing, both my advisors.
so yeah, big shout out to them. And then, is there like a website for this which people can reach out to? Like,
So
search
it's
it
a
up?
newsletter that
Okay.
you need to subscribe to. But if you just Google GSL, that's Graduate Student Lounge. No, wait, sorry, Graduate Student Life.
Yeah.
GSL Lounge is the lounge where
Yeah,
they
it's
are.
a launch. Okay.
My bad.
It's
So
okay.
Graduate Student Life,
Mhm.
if you just Google for UMD, you will find it. And usually for new students, it's directly subscribed, I think. I feel like you have to unsubscribe if you sort of
Receive
yeah,
it.
but don't do that.
Yeah. So guys, check it out, and hopefully you'll find something meaningful on that website. So okay, or in the newsletter. So I know you talked a lot about like the graduate student like life and like how the activities are there, like and also the rock climbing and stuff in Apply. But other than that, were there any like specific groups, clubs, or events that help like bridge the kind of like, I would not say bridge the gap for you, but like kind of like helped you more to like become a part of the community, like because like getting in touch with like people and like meeting new people is one thing, but like being an active member of the community in general and like the student like community at UMD is another thing, right? So were there like any groups or clubs or any events you were like active in like during your first year, or you're still active in like let's say you're like oh, I want to see what's happening in like the in my community, or like in just in general, right? So like for me it's like if I have to do that, what I do is I usually like there's like badminton is one, because a lot of like my friend circle go there, that's one. Then these another, like sometimes these on campus, like the like how like Pakistani Student Association has like mock shadi, then yeah.
Really? That's so cool.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I had no idea.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, PSA, Pakistani Student Association, has like mock shadi every spring, and they also have an event in the fall. So if you are going to be in there next fall and spring, you should check it out.
Like shadi, like nikah shadi?
Yeah, but it's kind of like a mock thing. So it's not like
That's so cool.
yeah. They had it like last Thursday, and then there's another association called the Southeast Student Association, SASA. They have a SASA formal, kind of like a Bollywood night thing.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's today, so
oh, it's
yeah,
today?
I guess
Wait.
the tickets might be out, so
Yeah.
you may be like, if you're free you can join, but like yeah, those are some ways like like I get to see like what's happening, like I meet people who haven't met I met in like probably like a month or so. So that's my way of like getting in touch with people. And then of course like ISAB is there, which like wherein like we all come together to share inputs. But like what's your way of like staying like connected with like the community members?
I used to do this in my first year. Over here, I used to attend events in general. Like there's this number that you can text. I don't remember what it is, but it sort of gives you updates on all the events happening on campus.
Okay, I didn't know that.
I can share it with you later. I'll have to find it.
Yeah.
And it gives you like information about the sports things, basketball, football. It tells you about the random coffee hours, because coffee hours are organized by a lot of different groups.
Departments, yeah.
You have events about the different dance clubs. Oh, I used to do that actually in my first year. I used to go for salsa and bachata, and I also went for swing and stuff. I stopped because I don't have a lot of time right now, but I used to love going to those. And I've gone to like few of the classes alone too, so I'm really proud of myself for that. And there's also another organization, I don't know if I mentioned this, Desi.
Desi UMD?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they organize really cool events, but I did not know about the Southeast Asian?
Yeah, SASA.
SASA.
Okay.
I did not know about that, and I'm really surprised to know about that mock nikah. Yeah, mock shadi. I'm going to tell my roommate because she's from Pakistan.
Oh, yeah.
She would love it. Yeah.
For sure. And I'm pretty sure they're like some of the board members are also graduating, so they might even have like openings for like the exec people, and also she could apply. But yeah. So
really cool.
Definitely, like it's like 840 different clubs, so it's obviously possible for you to miss it because it's so many clubs. Like it's not possible. I feel like still, I'm pretty sure there's like one or two clubs which I might like. If I know, I'll definitely go, but I still don't know because it's like a long list, and like to explore all those clubs and all, it's like
it's really difficult.
Yeah.
I'm currently enrolled for boxing,
Uh-huh.
but I have not been to a single.
Wait, boxing, is it like the one in the Appli?
No, no, no.
The
This
boxing
is
club?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And one thing is that I feel that this was really helpful. Like if your roommates or your friends are from different, even if they're international students but from different cultures. For example, my roommate is from Pakistan. One of them. One is from Indonesia. So I think last year during Eid, during the Ramzan, so there are these every day I think iftari is there in Stamp,
Yeah.
and there is one event where it's bring your friends. So I went with her for that event, and like I make like one meal every Ramzan. So I did last time, I did this time for her like to break her fast basically.
I see.
So I think if you do that with people from different cultures too, like people that you bond with and stuff, I think that's really helpful to explore new things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's a good way to like understand how things work. Definitely. Yeah.
Because my mom used to, I remember my mom also did this back in India. That's also one thing that I'm continuing.
Yeah. For us, because I'm from Lucknow, so like it's the Eid and all. It's like celebrated with like a lot of like at a great like it's a big festival there, right? So for us, I feel like because my like at home we are not allowed to like cook anything like non-vegetarian. It's like we are completely veg. So what we used to do was for like our friends, we used to go out together for like the Eid and all like probably like yeah, like once it used to be like a 2-day thing. So like the first day when it's like the Eid, they used to invite us to like their place and we used to eat together. And then the next day we used to like take them out to like some local restaurant which is like very famous in like that area. So that's how we used to do it. So kind of like something similar.
Yeah, that's really sweet though.
Yeah. Okay, so we are done with the social life. Now we are kind of transitioning to the personal life. So these questions probably would be focused on like or like yeah, let's get started. Like that would be better way. So yeah, what practices or habits from your home country India do you continue to practice while at UMD for like I would say self-care and personal growth? So for example, one thing which I can say is that for me, I try to do it, but like sometimes I fail. But like it's like I try to like have my dinner before 7 o'clock, have 3 meals a day, and it's like first meal would be somewhere around like 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then lunch by 1 o'clock, and then dinner at 7 and something like that. So that's one thing I try to do. Sometimes I do fail, but like yeah.
That's actually one thing related to food that I try to do very similarly. I'm failing these days because just work's so hectic.
Yeah, it's fine. It happens. As long as in the long run you see your schedule and it's working out, that's what matters. So.
Yeah. But one thing I do is intermittent fasting, which I used to do back in India too. And I got exposed to it not through mainstream social media but through Ayurveda, because fasting is something which is mentioned in our scriptures too.
Yeah.
And like there were so many benefits and stuff that were described. So that's something that I started back in India and I try to do it right now as well. But there are other things also that I have started doing that I never did back home because I had my mom to take care of me. I used to live with my mom.
Yeah.
Now it's just gone haywire for me. So I try to take better care of my physical health, my mental health. I don't know, do a lot of self-care.
What do you do for mental health? Is it like meditation or something?
A lot of people told me to. I'm just very rebellious to listen to them. I think I talk to God a lot, and I'm not saying in a prayer way. I legit like just like I'm talking to you right now. So in my room I have this small temple. And I usually used to do this with my mom back home. So if something's going on the TV, I would just like pause it and then I would give my commentary because that's what I like doing. Or if I had some comment in general about life, I used to just like blurt it out in front of my mom. Now I just assume that God is like sitting with me in my room, which I'm not schizophrenic or something.
No, that's fine. Like even like the last candidate we had, like he also kind of like does the same thing of like sitting like I guess if I remember, he used to like sit in like what he does is he sits in his room for like I guess 15 or 20 minutes, and he'll just like talk to himself, or like talk like just in like assuming like someone is there, and that's how like he does it. It's kind of like it's not like it's fun.
I feel like even though he's not like physically present, I can like feel his presence in a way because of how blessed I feel all the time.
That's great.
And how there are so many things that could go wrong, like horribly wrong over here, but they did not. So I feel really protected already, and I feel like majority of it is not because of my great decisions, because I don't take them, but it's because I'm protected. And so I like to talk to him about stuff in general. Like I would talk to my best friend, who's my mom, and she's not here right now, so I talk to God.
That's good. Yeah, for me, I feel like, my dad, he's kind of like he's not like very religious, but he always emphasizes a lot on like the spirituality and all. So he's like do meditation and stuff. So I try to do sometimes, but other than that, I feel like it's like I do like a morning prayer, and then after that, like before starting my day. So that kind of like helps me, like gives me some confidence that things will work out well today. So yeah. And so how would you like or like how have you redefined your sense of personal identity since coming to the US? Because for me, like when I was in India, like it's like you have people like everyone is an Indian, right? So you never felt like, oh, you are a little bit different, and like you have to act in certain ways, because it's like, first of all, I didn't used to care so much that people would judge me and all, but like when I came to US, and like not in the first month, because first month I had different struggles, but once I got like adapted to this thing, and like for example, whenever I'm like going out for these like the events like mock shadi and stuff, like I'm wearing like clothes and people see me, so it's kind of like mixed reaction, right? So sometimes it's like when I'm like walking by and like people see me, so they ask me what was it about, why are you wearing this? So I have to explain them. So in situations like that, I kind of feel like, oh, I'm representing my home country. So there have been other situations where like I was like on a panel session, and I had to talk about my experience as an international student. So people asked questions to me about how is it to be an international student in UMD or in US, and like I had to talk about it and stuff like that. So that was the point where I felt like, oh, I'm not just representing myself or my major, I'm representing my entire like India, like in general as a country, right? Because what they understand from my perspective, they'll believe, oh, that's how other people also live in India. So how have you redefined your personal identity in the US based on your experiences so far?
Firstly, I want to say that's a really interesting thing that you said, because that's something I wouldn't have like gotten to know otherwise. I feel like for me, personal identity is more about how I feel about myself, and unfortunately or fortunately, I'm still discovering it.
That's fine. It's normal.
Yeah, it's you. I believe that you're puzzle of pieces, and those pieces belong to different people who have affected your life.
Yeah.
And you sort of adopt things, even though you might not be in touch with them anymore, but somehow or somewhere you might have quirks that you get from them. And I think it's very beautiful, because at a point there was so much of love and care between you and these people, these friends that might not be in touch, but you still know that they care about you,
Yeah.
For me, unfortunately, what is happening is that I related certain quirks of mine to who I am as a person. And as I started living alone, and those things sort of went away, because you have to behave in a certain way, in a different way, in a more matured way when you're living alone, because you have to take care of your safety and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like since I associated those quirks to being me or being Varaa, I sometimes have this identity crisis, like who am I without those quirks, because it's all diluted now. So am I really, like, how do I define myself if these things keep changing? Because you have to keep evolving. That's good. But then who am I? And that's something that's, I know it's like really deep and stuff, but like that's something that I really think about on a day-to-day basis. And something that I have to personally deal with right now, because a lot of my quirks have been diluted by my own self. So yeah, I think that's one thing.
No, it's absolutely like normal, because one thing which happens with me a lot is that just when I'll try to like feel that, oh, things are like normal, or like I've adapted to the situation to the best of my ability, something will happen and I'll be like, oh, I'm again back to the zero. So it's like happens like often that I'm like learning something and I feel like, oh, now I know a lot about this thing, and then suddenly something happens and now I'm again like trying to see, oh no, wait, I did learn something, but now it's of no use because of this new thing happening in my life. So it's absolutely fine to like still be kind of like a little bit unsure about that, but you still made some progress, like, because obviously I'm pretty sure like the Varaa of like, I would say 23, like, was that the first year you came to US, or like 22?
2023, yeah.
23, right? The Varaa of 23 is definitely like a lot different from the Varaa of like 25, right?
Really different.
Yeah. So, yeah, glad to know that. And we already talked a little bit about like networking and all, like how you connected to people. Let's see if we have any question which yeah, we can probably use this. Has your international background made it easier or harder to build a strong network at UMD? In some ways, I guess you did answer it, but like I just wanted to like ask you again like this, because I feel like, yeah, that's a really good one. What do you feel about it?
I think in a way it has helped me a lot, because there's this balance. Firstly, some people are really interested in knowing about my culture, where I
Your
come
background,
from,
yeah.
all of that, my experiences, and they're really intrigued by all of that. So they want to build a connection and get to know about all of that. But at the same time, there are people who would be a little hesitant, because it's just difficult to adapt to new cultures, and not, it doesn't, for some people it's fine, for some people they prefer not to, which is understandable. To each their own. But for them, I feel like my identity as a person is way more dominant than being an international student per se. Because of that, it sort of balances out.
Okay.
So when someone wants to dive into my cultural background, I do talk about it very openly. But I never bring it out, or I'm not like, flashing it in their face. Yeah.
Okay.
So it doesn't get awkward for other people who might not want to engage in such conversations. And I think the balance is really important.
Yeah, that's true. Is there like a particular like mentor in your life, I would say particularly in UMD, who you feel like has been like really special and like influencing your decisions, or like just helping you in general with like day to day, like I would say, let's say for example, it could be like your first semester you met someone who was like really helpful in like letting you know the strategies of like how to adapt, like for example, I had a person, he was not from India, but like his parents were from India. He was born and like brought up in the US, but like so he used to like, I used to meet him in the diner, and he used to like tell me like he lived on campus for first year, so he'd be like, bro, if you want to like wash your clothes, don't do it on like Sundays or like Saturdays. Do it on like during the weekdays. Because I shared with him that, oh, like I haven't washed clothes in India, because actually in India we had like helping like hands to like help us out with all like those stuff. So we never like, I never did it. My mom again used to manage all that thing. So when I told him that, oh, this is my first time and I'm kind of like thinking of like what to do, so he was like, yeah, these are some things I like he shared with me, and he's like, don't wash your clothes on Saturday or Sunday, because all of them machines would be full.
Yeah.
So it's a long like waiting queue, and to avoid that, do it on weekdays. So that was one thing I remember. So has there been a mentor in your life who like you feel like has been like influential
A
to some
lot,
extent?
actually. So this is for context, but my mom has been like a really big guiding force, even my dad. But the thing is, I've not lived with my dad for a very long time, because for my studies we sort of settled in one city because he was getting posted, and for my higher education it was just very disruptive.
That makes sense.
but my mom has really been there for my teen years where I was sort of discovering who I am. Um, and for everything I used to like ask her because she's also my best friend. So it was really, really difficult for me to suddenly come in the US like all alone because I've never lived alone, even in India. And then I met my best friend Bharat, who has literally parented me. Like
Okay.
at this point, it is established that I'm more than like a friend. I'm like a child that he takes care of. Like I'm an adopted child at this point. And my mom also says this. Like thank you so much for like adopting this child. And I think that was really important for me to sort of soften the blow a little and smooth my transition, because if there was anything that I was feeling anxious about, I got an email regarding GSG and I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this because I grew so much in like this past 1 year because of all my responsibilities with GSG. And I was like, what do I do now? What do I do now? And then he's like, calm down.
Yeah.
See, these are the things that you need to keep in mind and stuff like that. So that was really helpful. And I'm going to be forever grateful to him for that. Apart from that, there are few professors that really, really helped me a lot and guided me professionally, especially when it came to applying for my PhD. So I've applied for my PhD. I got into UMD, which was one of my top choices in
That's
CS.
great. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. CS is really tough to get into, so I was really like happy when that happened. And I worked with Professor Charles Harry from School of Public Policy. I took a class with Professor Michelle Mazurek, who has been so helpful because not only did she sort of guide me in research, but she also made sure that I knew what I was getting into when I was applying for a PhD, the kind of people I would like to work with. And I think it's really important to have professors like those. And also one other Professor Michael Whitner, who took pen testing for our class and now is taking advanced hacking. It's been really, these three professors have been really like really important in my life for helping me, guiding me with my career in particular. And with regards to GSG, I've also, as I mentioned, learned a lot. And I feel like there are these administrators whom I spoke with in really critical situations where I originally would have taken like some hasty decision, not in a bad way but in a very blunt way, because I have been very bold and blunt about my statements in the past. I had to take care of not really voicing my personal opinions because I am currently a public servant in a way, and my job is to voice the opinions of the assembly. So I've stopped doing that. So I think people like Marsha, who is the director of STEM, Vice President Patty Perillo, Dean Roth of grad school, President Pines, the way they talk about certain scenarios, certain things they discuss with me in our one-on-one meetings, it's really been incredibly helpful in sort of finding that balance and being diplomatic and doing the right thing. And I think that has been really helpful. But
that's great.
all these people.
So I guess that's a long list, but yeah, we can give a shout out to all of them. So it's starting with, big shout out to Bharat, big shout out to Dr. Pines, Dr. Patty, Dr. Roth, and Marsha. Dr. Marsha, and then after that we also have a list of professors. You want to give shout out to them?
Yeah, Professor Michelle Mazurek, Professor Charles Harry, Professor Michael Whitner.
Yeah, thanks so much to all of you for like being like such like helpful and like being like a guiding light in Vara's life. And yeah, thanks so much, guys. So big shout out to all of you. Have you ever faced any like crisis situation, or like were you ever in a situation which was like really stressed, and like what did you do in that situation? So I know like you mentioned how like sometimes like Bharat helps you in those situations, but let's say other than that, what did you do, like, or like what are your strategies to handle a situation like that? Like what do you do in general?
I
For
usually.
like if you want, like I could also like give you my example. So what I do is if I land up in a situation where it's really stressed, what I do is I just like take a pause. I'll just like leave it for like 5-10 minutes. I'll do something else, and then I'll try to come back to it, because it's like I always feel like if I try to like handle it in the very first go, I'll definitely take like a bad decision. So it's
Yeah.
like in some ways it has helped me that like if I get back to that situation in, like, or to that like problem in like next like after 10 minutes or so, I might like, be able to take like a better decision. So that's one thing which I do. So yeah, so you were saying
Yeah,
something.
I think procrastination is key when taking
Hmm.
decisions
Okay.
when you're emotional.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I do first and foremost is I have a mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I calm down a little bit, I try to sort of extract myself from the situation, try to look at it more logically. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of the times, the university has been really helpful.
Mm.
There were situations which I could not have handled myself,
Yeah.
because they were out of my scope of information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I did not have the knowledge, the experience to handle such things, and it's important to know when to ask for help. I did go to the
Sorry.
I did go to the university a lot of times,
Mm-hmm.
and they were really helpful.
Like the counseling center or like the health center?
So I went to student affairs,
Okay, that's another thing.
and at that time I was not a part of GSG.
Mm-hmm.
I was a rep, but I was not that, like, I had no idea. I did not have these connections that I have right now.
Mm-hmm.
But even at that time, they were so empathetic. They were really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And when they actually asked at that time how you were actually doing,
Mm-hmm.
it did feel genuine.
I see.
So I did not phase out,
Uh-huh.
which was great.
That's nice.
But yeah, they were really helpful. The university is extremely helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to know where to go to, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Like sometimes it's like you have the resources, it's just that you're not aware of using them. So, but still, I would say university health, like not the health center, the counseling center for sure. Like I guess you get like up to 5 appointments for free in a year. So like if you ever have that, you are ever in that situation, you should definitely check it out. Like they're really helpful. So yeah.
Yeah. If you think you're going cuckoo, then go to the counseling center.
Mm.
And if you think you need legal help, which I hope you don't, go
Yeah.
to graduate legal aid. I did go to them for some leasing related thing.
Mm.
It was super helpful.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's great thing she brought up for leasing and all, because I know like a lot of international students, like in the second year, like if you're a graduate student in your first year, you have to sign a lease, and sometimes the terms and all like or the clauses which they have in the lease are like kind of like not very like informative. So I would say never sign it just like that. We have like free services where like a legal aid can like help you like go through the entire lease and like discuss it with you. And if they feel like there's something which should be discussed, then you can discuss it with the property manager. So always do that. Never sign a document before discussing it with like a legal person. So yeah.
Even like certain cards that different student groups would want you to
Yeah,
sign,
never do that.
don't do that. And I also have used their immigration services a lot.
Mhm.
There's a different immigration lawyer
Mm-hmm.
that they have. She was super helpful to me. She really provided with a lot of information. I had certain doubts regarding visas and the kind of things I'm allowed to do and stuff like that. What's difference, even the difference between OPT, CPT when I
Mhm.
was not aware of all of that. Yeah, of course, ChatGPT can help you, but it's always better to ask a lawyer.
Yeah, definitely.
So they're super helpful.
Yeah, and I guess in case of like the OPT, CPT stuff, even ISSS advisors like Katrina and Michael, big shout out to them. Even they can help you out with that. So yeah, I guess the legal UMD legal web like aid. Do you know the website like name? Is it like
It's just Graduate Legal Aid.
okay?
Wait,
Is it? But I feel like it should also.
GLAO, Graduate Legal Aid Office. Because the thing is that Graduate Student Life,
Mm-hmm.
Graduate Student Legal Aid Office, GLAO, and GSG, these are the three Gs. We work in unison together
Okay.
to, yeah.
Yeah, so you can just search it on web and like you can get the information there. So definitely check it out if you're like in one of these situations. So
Yeah, but as you mentioned, ISSS is also a great resource. Anything that I ever have a doubt with, or any international student approaches me with some
Mhm.
issue, I direct them directly to Sue.
yeah, no, definitely like big shout out to ISSS people. They are doing so much given like how the situation are these days. So yeah, big shout out to all of you. And then the last question is, if you could send a message to your younger self before coming to UMD, what advice would you give regarding the journey ahead? Given like your experiences, I would say this is your fourth semester, so like in 4 semesters, all the experience you had, like what would be like, I would say let's go with one advice you would give to your younger self.
I think I would give two actually.
Okay, yeah, that's even better.
One would be that it's gonna get really tough,
Mm-hmm.
but it's gonna be worth it because growth comes from discomfort.
Yeah,
And if you're comfortable, then you're not growing.
exactly.
And you're going to love the person that you're going to become. So you're going to be really proud. So that's one thing. And
Uh-huh.
the other thing would be that I did not do is stay really firm on who you are, your quirks and all.
Mm-hmm.
Do balance it out. I think I went way too just plain and simple and hollow in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to become mature and be safe over here, because girls have to have a whole different set of things that we
Yeah.
face, like random people just banging on your window at the middle of the night,
Oh,
or people just barging in your house, which are both the things that have happened to me.
mm-hmm.
So I think do be safe, but keep your quirks too.
Yeah, those are some great advices. So yeah, so we come to the conclusion. Vara, thank you so much for sharing your story with us today. I'm pretty sure the audience would enjoy listening to this podcast, and we talked about a lot of like different topics. So I feel like it would be engaging for them to like stay on for this entire duration. And to our audience, a big thank you for tuning into Crossing Time Zones. Stay tuned for more transformative stories in the upcoming episodes. Until next time, remember, no matter where you are from, your story matters. Take care and continue embracing new adventures, or in the other words, keep crossing those time zones. Thank you so much, guys.